Okay, let's get started. Hey all, welcome back to part 2 of 7 Habits of Highly Effective Language Learners. This is for Substack. We're recording this for Substack premium users, but if you're watching live after the fact, it's great. We previously did a podcast for Habits 1 and 2, so we're going to go from 3 and 4 and maybe even longer. Let's see how we go to. So I'm going to be reading it. So you might see me from the looking to the left. I'm going to be reading them and then adding my 2 cents to each point. So habit 3. These people, they practice consistently. Language learning isn't about cramming for hours once a week. In fact, it's probably not even best to do all these hours because you're probably going to be able to spend your time more effectively in other places. But also, if you spend all this time learning, you don't have enough time to digest what you've actually learned. It's also about building a habit of regular practice. That's an important point because if you're cramming for hours a week, the likelihood of you being consistent with it, it's not very likely at all. So you need to ensure that you're staying consistent with these things. Highly effective language learners understand that consistency, showing up daily, even for short bursts, leads to better memory retention and steady progress over time. This is something that, as just mentioned, it's about consistency. It's about doing it for a long term. You're more likely to learn a language and become intermediate or advanced if you're learning for a year, 5 minutes a day or 5 minutes a week, rather than if you're doing hours every day or hours every week. Yeah. Point under this is establish a regular language learning routine. You need to understand when you're learning, what you're learning. Try and write down the points for every week. A routine creates a structure and makes language learning part of your lifestyle rather than something you get around to. It's something you need to do on a consistent basis. It's all about this point of consistency. It's important that you choose a specific time, day, in the times that you're least likely to be interrupted, and maybe during your morning coffee, commute, right before bed. It needs to be a consistent time every day, every week, so you know that you can completely focus on this and get better in the language that you're learning. It's also important to remember, which is not written in the article, that if you're learning a harder language, then you're more likely to need to learn for longer rather than shorter amounts of time. This means that even short sessions compound into big results. 15 minutes of focused daily practice is better than 2 hours a week because it keeps your brain consistent with the language. Ensuring that you're using apps like Duolingo, Babbel, things like that, especially flashcards. I know Anki do flashcards, or Quizlet, which are perfect for bite-sized sessions. If you're not able to learn in that particular day, you can just get flashcards and understand a technique or words that you're trying to learn throughout. Additionally, you need to mix up your practice activities, keep sure it's engaging, ensure that you're doing something on a consistent basis and learning and keeping consistent with the 4 different sections of learning, which is speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Practice with a partner, record voice memos, play music, podcasts, YouTube videos for listening. For reading, make sure you're rotating between articles, short stories, most social media posts. If you find an article online, try and translate it into your target language or social media posts. Buy books online that have beginner articles, beginner stories in it. Writing, you can keep a short journal or personal language learning forums. Discuss this particular language with other people who are learning the same language as you. It's even more important with the language learning books that beginners have because they also have a list of words within the book which might be somewhat difficult for your level. So make sure you read these first. Well, no. You'd want to read the story, read the words, and understand what they mean in your native language, and then read the story again so you can actually understand it properly. Habit 4. They use effective language learning strategies. Ensuring that you're using spaced repetition, which is reviewing information at increasing intervals, and active recall, which is testing yourself rather than reading, which are game changers. Ensure that you do consistent tests of a language. Make sure that you're keep consistent with the subjects that you're learning until you've properly grasp it and properly understand what you're doing. Additionally, like previously mentioned, you can use Anki and Quizlet to build the methods around these techniques. Ensure that you remember vocabulary phrases for the long term. If you've got a busy day, you can use these to ensure that you're being able to learn for longer. Instead of memorizing a word once and forgetting it, you'll be able to just revisit it before your brain's likely to fail. Ensure that you keeping consistent and keeping on top of the words and techniques that you're wanting to learn. For the more complex things, break down new vocabulary and grammar into manageable chunks. You're not going to be able to learn everything at once because it just becomes overwhelming. Ensure that you're breaking bigger goals into smaller digestible parts if you want to become native, if you want to speak with a native speaker. Learn your sentences. Learn questions that are most common to start a conversation and understand what each one of those words mean within each sentence. Ensuring that you're able to master the small chunks, the small pieces of information before you go to larger complex topics or speaking fully natively with speakers or traveling. A lot of people want to travel because it's a good motivation, but ensuring that you have some sort of comprehension, some sort of understanding of the language, especially at the beginning level, before you start traveling, because it can build confidence and you don't want to just freak out in the middle of a city before you're able to learn. This also make it easier for you in the long term to keep going. And just like, why not have fun with it? Experiment with different language learning methods to find out which works best for you. Everyone's different. Everyone's going to be able to learn in different ways. If you're wanting to read books, if you like reading books, if you like listening to podcasts, and do this, make sure you do this in your target language. There's no one size fits all. Experimentation is important. Use AI. Speak to AI in your target language. Understand what each word means. Tell it to explain every word to you. Some people might like flashcards. You might prefer reading and writing your sentences, or engaging in basic conversation. If you have friends in your target language, try language apps, group classes, one-to-one tutoring, which is always effective because it's someone who understands your level, understands the progress that you want to make, what your goal is, and slowly, incrementally get you to that. You can even use gamified platforms for Link or Memrise if you prefer having games in between language learning. Once you understand what you like and what you don't like, if something becomes stale, make sure you switch it up. The best learners treat their study routine like a laboratory. You need to keep experimenting, refining, understanding what you actually like. Habit 5, they embrace mistakes and seek feedback. One thing all highly effective language learners understand is mistakes aren't failures. They're proof you're learning. Everyone's going to make mistakes. Everyone's going to not be confident in times. Everyone's going to say something which you think means one thing, but it actually means something else. If people laugh, just laugh with them. It's fine. It's just something a part of the experience. Everyone's going to have it. People are laughing at you. They obviously don't know your language, or if it's a target language, you're speaking to someone in that target language, then they probably don't know your native language, so it's fine. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. They're a natural part of the learning process. When you're learning a new language, errors, they're just going to be inevitable. Instead of avoiding them, lean into them. Make sure you understand the error Don't be making the same error over and over again. Make sure you understand it. Make sure you speak to people so they can explain every point of it so you won't make it again. And if you have a conversation about the point that you've just made, then you're more likely to not repeat it. The more you practice out loud and in real situations, the faster you'll improve. But as I said before, make sure that you understand the errors that you're making and understand some of your target language so you're not making all the mistakes without even learning. If you know nothing, then you're going to make mistakes and you're not even going to be able to learn from what people are saying. Remember that native speakers make mistakes too. It's all about communication, ensuring that you're consistently communicating with these people. Ensure that you're actively seeking out feedback from native speakers or even your language tutors. Don't practice in isolation. Ask for corrections and guidance from people who are native speakers. This is from native speakers, language exchange partners, or even your tutors. Ensuring that you're getting into language exchange groups as well. This is extremely important. This is other people understand where you're coming from, what language you want to learn. They're also learning again, and together with you, make sure that you're speaking with them and discussing your native and target languages so you can each improve the language that you learn. If you want to use a language exchange, if you go to languagelearnershub.com/language exchange, we have a Discord group in there which enables you to meet other people, and over time will increase the amount of resources and strategies that we're adding into there. The more popular it becomes, the more we can add, the more resources we can put to it. Use mistakes as an opportunity to improve and learn. As we've just said, every mistake carries a lesson. Keep a mistake log. When you note recurring mistakes and understand them, speak with the people that you're learning with. The solution for this, write it down, review it, speak to people. Over time, these once frustrating mistakes become a stepping stone towards fluency. Habit 6. These people stay motivated and celebrate their progress. Even the most dedicated learners face days when motivation dips. What sets highly effective learners apart is their momentum to keep going and celebrating every step forward. If you've learned a new sentence, if you've learned a new word, speak with a native speaker and understand it, use it in context. Tell them to explain what other words you can use in the same context. Find ways to stay motivated, such as setting rewards or connecting with language learning communities. Motivation doesn't happen by accident. You need to create it. Set up small rewards by hitting study streaks, like treating yourself to a favorite snack or watching a film. This will also create a psychological response because when you do something good, when you learn something new, your brain will know that you're getting a treat with it. It'll enable you to learn even more and stay motivated. Ensure that you're connected with others who are on the same journey through language learning communities or social media groups. Like I just said, you can use the language learning exchange to meet other people. You can understand their progress and see the progress and how their progress can also keep you inspired. Ensuring that you're reflecting on how far you've come to maintain a positive mindset. You need to think about if you've been speaking to people in the past about the language that you're learning, or even with native speakers. If you understand that you can understand and speak or write and read more than you previously could, but it still feels like you're making mistakes, you've made a lot of progress anyway. Like, you're going to continue making that progress. It's going to be fine. Habit 7, last habit. They adapt and adjust their approach. Language learning is full of ups, downs, even sideways sometimes, and unexpected plateaus. Highly effective learners don't speak to one rigid method. It's about understanding each method that you can use, reassess the approach, and make changes to keep language learning effective and enjoyable. Ensure that you're regularly evaluating your language learning strategy and make adjustments as you need. There's many questions you can ask yourself or ask other people to understand this, but ask yourself questions like, what's working well? What feels frustrating or stagnant? Am I spending too much time on one skill and neglecting another? An important thing for this is when you're speaking to native speakers, ask them these questions as well. They'll be able to give you things which you don't spot for yourself. It'll be better to understand how you can improve and what small things are things that they understand but you don't. Whether it's like, I can't think, but like slang, for example, there might be specific words which mean something else, and you don't want to get caught up in this. Ensure that you have regular check-ins so you can catch unproductive habits early and focus on what brings you really results. Be willing to try new techniques and resources to keep your learning fresh and effective. If your current method doesn't work or is feeling stale, switch it up, try something new, learn from another tutor, use another learning language app, or experiment with new activities like shadowing audio or writing short stories in your target language. All these things can help and will ensure that you're keeping it fresh. Last thing is to stay flexible and open-minded as you navigate the ups and downs of language learners. There will be weeks when life gets busy and when progress feels slow. This is fine. Like I said earlier, you can use flashcards, you can use smaller pieces of information to ensure that you're still learning and still ensuring that it's in your brain. Instead of getting discouraged, effective learners adjust their goals, shift their methods so you can learn even better. Sometimes a short break or a new perspective. And again, learn with many different tutors, and these people will be able to understand and give you even more methods to be able to learn, and also even a new perspective, because everyone's different, even for native speakers. Flexibility is what long-term learners need to move forward. As you've seen from the article, if you're listening on Substack, this is the end of the article. But another thing that you need to ensure to do to be effective is to ensure that you're learning in different mediums, blog posts, podcasts, writing letters to native speakers, using apps, discussion apps like HelloTalk and Tandem. Ensure that you travel once you understand, even if it's somewhere close or to specific communities in your country. This is important. Ensure that you're writing a lot. Create a blog posting or a blog in your native language. This will be able to keep you going, keep you contained and interested in the language you're learning. If you've got a specific goal for this, is to speak to native speakers or speak to people when you go on holiday, or if it's for a job, learn about the specific things. If it's for a job in a business, learn business and then your language. You can also use free programs online. You can use the military, especially in the United States. There's a lot of resources online from them to be able to learn faster. It's a bit more boring. It's all audio based and video based, but you can use this to learn faster if you want to just get into it. Listen to a lot of audios, write, do the tasks on there, and you'll be able to do it in a short amount of time to be able to get to a beginner level. Use Duolingo for if you're a beginner. This will give you the basics of the language, basics of the words. There's just a few ways that you're able to start learning these languages. Thank you for listening. This is Language Learners Hub. Thank you for watching live. If you did that, if you haven't watched live, you can go to twitch.tv. twitch.tv/AlexMilner20. We'll also do it on Language Learners Hub soon. We'll set one up. Also on YouTube, Language Learners Hub. And we'll also try to go on social media soon. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.